my metal guitar. This is a national resophonic guitar. I know so many people are like, of course it's a resophonic guitar, you moron. Stop trying to teach me something. Don't worry, I won't try to teach you anything else. But for those of you who don't know, this is a type of guitar that was very popular in the 1920s and 30s because it is in fact very loud. And not loud because it is plugged in, because I mean, it is obviously plugged in, but it has an aluminum cone, a speaker in here, that instead of being driven by electricity, obviously can't find any other word. Sure, it's okay to come watch him perform, but I wouldn't want them working on my lawn. Yeah, I understand. But yeah, you figured it out. I'm just tuning again, just looking for something intelligent or at least amusing to say while I tune. I like weird instruments. I've always looked for things that sort of had their own story behind it, because rock and roll is pretty old at this point, right? There's museums about rock and roll, which doesn't mean that it can't be cool and vibrant and happening, but it also means that you're crazy if you think you thought of it, which is okay. It's all right. You don't have to reinvent the wheel to get from here to there. But I've always been interested in weird instruments because anything that's just a little bit different will hopefully put people in that headspace where, like, what does he think he's doing? And that's valuable, because you gotta somehow get people to suspend their disbelief just for a moment. So I was always looking for instruments, weird instruments, when I was growing up. My mom ran an antique store in Clear Lake, Texas. Clear Lake, Texas is in between Texas City, the cancer center of the United States, because they have so many oil refineries there, and Houston, Texas. And Texas City borders right on the edge of Clear Lake. Clear Lake is also where NASA Control is, so when they do space shots and stuff like that, and they talk to Houston Control, they're really talking to Clear Lake. So my mom lived in Clear Lake for a while after I had moved out, because I moved out when we were living in Kansas City, but she moved down there and started a little antique store. And so I would hang out with her sometimes, and we would go antiquing by going to estate sales and the type of sale that happens after somebody dies, and somebody just comes around, goes through their stuff and tries to figure out where's the buck. And so I would go with her to these estate sales, and I'd always look for musical instruments, and often they would be broken. In fact, more often than not they would be broken, which explains my entire musical approach, which you witnessed here. And one of the things that I found was a plastic banjo, sort of a collision of space-age materials and music from the old world. In the same way that this is sort of a collision between the industrial age and old world craftsmanship. But while we rode in my mom's truck, pulling a U-Haul trailer that we had gotten, after U-Haul decided that it wasn't safe, so you know that thing wasn't working. A rolling, on occasion, death trap. I sat in the front as we drove through East Texas in the pines, and I tried to make sense of a lot of stuff that was going on in the news at the time. And this is the song I found inside that banjo. Just across the highway there's the Army store. Every time I see it I remember what it's for. My brother signed up so he could make his stake. They sent him to Iraq, it's just a year and a day in the showdown. He was shot from the rear. They make those bullets 16 miles from here. All he ever wanted was his own piece of ground, and now it's 3 feet wide, 6 feet down. All he ever wanted was his own piece of ground. I ain't ever gonna leave my hometown. Susie with the yellow hair. When I was small, she used to live around here. River Valley Baptist on a wide down road. I kissed her in the choir when she was 12 years old. Susie went to school, but I just sort of hung around. She came back and burned the damn church down. Susie went to school, but I just sort of hung around. I ain't never gonna leave my hometown. Well, there's an Amaco pipeline, it cuts through the town. Feed the rusted mosquitoes, suck the oil from the ground. I watch the sun go down through a hole in the plane of that when they lay the power line. Well, it's a big boy, you can tell by the sound. But I ain't never gonna leave my hometown. Time to go to meeting about 10:30. I put on my best again. I got a half tank of gas, a beer in a can, a weed and back of Johnson's land. And we're trying to get home by breakfast time. Put the whites in the wash, get them out on the line. Before the stain sits, you know it returns to brown. Rifles in the rack before I hit town. Before the stain sits, you know it returns to brown. And I ain't ever gonna leave my hometown. Well, there's an Amaco pipeline, it cuts through the town. Feed the rusted mosquitoes, suck the blood from the ground. I watch the sun go down through a hole in the plane of that when they lay the power line. Well, that's a 12-gauge full choke, you tell by the sound. But I ain't never gonna leave my hometown.